All right, we are back, and today's topic is a bit of a heavy one. I have been away from the old YouTube scene for a couple of months now. Was really trying to gain some steam and get things rolling, but life just kind of hit me like a train and just derailed everything like life likes to do. So as you probably noticed by the title of this video, I experienced a pretty huge, hefty loss last year, and that is what kind of has kept me off this platform, kept me off of a lot of things in life, and trying to bounce back from all of that and using the experience that I had to try and give back on YouTube like I have tended to do. So with no further ado, this video will be my best explanation of how I have thus far worked my way up and over this great substantial loss that I experienced, and hopefully with any luck at all, my experience can help other people out there through their experiences, and we can just kind of help each other get through these parts of our lives together. So in June of 2025, my mom was diagnosed with an inoperable liver cancer tumor. And from June of 25 to about December of 25, we were dealing with that. She did indeed pass away late December 23rd, 2025. And that is what kind of started the downward spiral for me, away from content, away from my creative endeavors, and away from a lot of the things that I had been doing in life and trying to do and trying to build up to and get somewhere with. And so it's March 1st now. It's been a long couple of months of me just kind of trying to build it up and get back to where I am and get back to a place where I can be creative and successful again. And so just kind of sharing the experience that I've had thus far with such a major, sudden, and catastrophic loss. And again, like trying to share my experiences with others and hope that others can learn from my experience and they can bring on their own experiences and help me through mine as well. Because at the end of the day, this is a productivity channel. And so I wanted to try and find a way to reel this back into productivity and be like, life is gonna hit us like a train. Life is gonna derail us. It's gonna happen. It's unavoidable. But if we can find a way to move past that and to get to a place where we're back on the mountaintop, so to speak, and doing things again. And how do we get there when it seems utterly impossible when you think about it in the heat of that moment? By far the hardest thing for me to come to terms with and for me to cope with through this whole experience is this overbearing idea that life will go on. Life, not only will it go on, but life has to go on. It has to move on without you. It will move on without you. It'll move on without the ones you love. It'll move on without the people that you don't love. People come, people go, and life, just like that freight train that keeps on hitting us and derailing us, life will continue to do that, and it will not stop for anything. And that was the biggest and hardest thing for me to overcome. And I don't even know that I've overcome it at this point, but it's the hardest thing, at least for me, to come to terms with through my current experiences. And so like work, I took 2 weeks off of work for the event and all of that. And my work was, as far as work can be, supportive of it, but at the same time, like, it wasn't enough. I wanted their world to stop for me. I wanted the world to stop for me. I wanted everyone to stop for me and just give me a moment to breathe, give me a moment to process things, and give me a moment to like live and exist and realize what that even means. But that is just not the reality of things. Things are not going to stop for you. The world will not stop for you. They're not going to stop for your loved ones. They will not stop for you. And you have to figure out how to navigate that whilst still existing in this world and stepping away from everything as much as you humanly possibly can. Again, I was given 2 weeks to do that. It sure doesn't seem like a whole lot of time. People take 2-week vacations at work all the time. In fact, when I came back from this horrible event, a lot of people just thought I was out on vacation. And that was another just frustrating and volatile thing to deal with, and be like, no, I was not on a vacation. The thing I was dealing with was far from a vacation. It was the least kind of vacation. It was the opposite of a vacation. But do you unpack that all right there when some random person in the hallway stops you and is like, oh, how was your vacation, buddy? Like, no, I'm not going to unpack that, but I really kind of want to. And that's kind of part of the problem as well. Like, the world's not going to stop for you. And it is not the right thing to try and stop the world for you. Like, I can unpack that right there, dump all my trauma on that person who just thought I was on vacation, make them feel horrible, I still feel horrible, and that's not a healthy feeling that I want to spread. So trying to come to terms with that, trying to understand that life moves on, life will press on without us, and that we have to process our guilt, and not even our guilt, but our grief. Sorry, that was the wrong word entirely. Process our grief in our own ways, in our own time, and however it makes the most sense for us. That is the way that we will get over this, is coming to terms with life and with the world and how it presses on, how it moves on, and how it just keeps going. I can remember when I was in a creative writing class in, I think it was my junior year of high school, and we read this story. It was a short story about these kids that went on a rafting trip, and then the something about the rafting trip like went obviously horrible, and there was like bad waves, and they turned over their canoe, and one of the kids wound up drowning and did not survive this event. And the other kids got out from under the canoe, they swam to shore, and the other kid was trapped under the canoe and he drowned, and then the waves took him and he just went upstream and they never found his body. It was a whole thing, and it was a very sad and unfortunate story. But the things that sticks with me, and it's always stuck with me even before now that I fully realized why it stuck with me, but it always stuck with me. And the thing that stuck with me about that was that my teacher was so hung up on the way that the writer was able to illustrate how life moves on without us, how there was birds still chirping in the sky, how the water just kept flowing like nothing had ever happened, like it didn't just steal this poor dead body away, and how the sun was still shining, the sky was clear, things just kept on going. And I can remember at the time I didn't understand that. I didn't fully understand why the teacher was so focused on that aspect of the story. And I was like this young man just died, and he could have been so many different things. He could have done so many different things. Why are we focusing on how the writer illustrated how the birds are chirping and how the sky is and how the weather is and how the water keeps flowing? I didn't understand that at the time, though now I fully understand how impactful that is and how it makes us in our however many years. My mom got 58 of them, and in that 58-year spec, like how insignificant we are in the history of the world, and how we're desperately trying to be significant, or some of us are, some of us probably aren't too bothered by it. But some of us, I know I am, that's why I'm here, that's why I'm sharing my knowledge, that's why I'm sharing my experiences, because I want to be something bigger. I want to have a significant impact. When it's my time and I'm lying on that bed, I know I can leave something behind in this world that will continue on well past me. And I repeatedly say, like, obviously the easy answer is kids, keep the bloodline alive, keep the bloodline going, but kids really only do so much with keeping you and your mentalities and your ideas around. Like, after the first or second generation, you're a great grandparent, you're going to have little to no impact directly on that child's life, so that when your time finally comes, you're not going to have the same kind of impact as someone who was a great philosopher, a great artist, and a great Renaissance person, a great creative person who really delivered something and gave something to the world. And that's the kind of impact that I strive to have and I strive to want. And so understanding that story now, and understanding that life will move on, and it's gonna take time. We can say right now that we understand that, we can believe that we understand that, but until you experience it, until you're right there face to face with it, you're not gonna fully understand it. And so that was kind of the first part. There was a lot of long days of me just laying face first in my bed and just not getting up and barely eating, barely sleeping, and slowly coming to terms with what the world is and how the world operates and why it is the way that it is and how I can accept that and operate within it still. And part two of getting over this is the unexpected support. Obviously we all have the support systems. We've got our friends, we've got our family, we've got our arts, we've got our games, our music, or whatever it is that our escapes are. And those are the things that we expect to pull us from the wreckage when we have these dark times, when we're doing the bad things, when we're in the bad places. But there will be unexpected things that pop up that you don't think to reach out to, you don't think to access, you don't think will be even a thing until it's right there in front of you. And then you're like, wow, like that was a hugely impactful thing. There's three major things for me that really helped get me through the dark, kind of gross, muddy times that I was in. The first one, oddly enough, was a puzzle. So as I had mentioned, my mom passed on the 23rd. The 24th was, of course, Christmas Eve, and I had to go Christmas shopping because I hadn't finished Christmas shopping. And for whatever reason, in the midst of all that, my mom hadn't even gone for 24 hours. That was what was on my mind, the capitalist society expectations that have been drilled into my brain so deeply so that in light of the sudden passing of my mother, I'm still like, oh, I gotta go to the store and buy toys for people and buy stuff and buy stuff and buy stuff. But that's possibly a conversation and a tangent for another time. But at any rate, I was out Christmas Eve. I was Christmas shopping, doing some last minute shopping for some stuff that I just couldn't quite get to because we were dealing with all the stuff with mom. And I was at Target, and the shelves were barren. There was hardly anything on the shelves at all. And I was looking for some toys for my brother's sons because I hadn't gotten my full budget's worth of toys for them yet. And there was this one barren shelf with nothing on it except for this little box of, it was a 1,000 piece puzzle. And that box just kind of stopped me, because I immediately was taken back to when I was a kid and I was going through my own cancer journey, and my mom and I would spend hours at a time just solving puzzles. You're going through chemo and you're weak and you don't feel very good and you can hardly ever do anything. There's few activities that really are good when you're in that kind of state that you can be entertained by. I watched a lot of cartoons at that time. I kind of got more into video games at that time. I can thank my love for video games for the experiences that I had when I was that little. And my mom and I would get together and we would do puzzles. And so seeing this puzzle in the store as the only thing on the shelf, it was just a weird, odd sign, and I couldn't really look past it. And here I was in Target, less than 24 hours after having lost my mom, trying to Christmas shop for whatever reason. And now I'm like resisting the urge to have a breakdown in Target right now over this puzzle box. And I'm embarrassed by my feelings because I don't want to be making a scene in Target, and I'm embarrassed by the fact that like a single puzzle box is able to break me emotionally. But that's where I was in that moment. So needless to say, I bought the puzzle box. I've been putting it together. I've been trying to put it together. It's a 1,000 piece puzzle, so I bit off a little more than I can chew with that one, but I got the border done and I'm starting to fill in the middle of it. And it has helped me feel better in that it's something I can do, and I feel like it's still connecting me with mom because it's something that we used to do together, and it was completely unexpected. I honestly have not touched a puzzle since probably 2004 or so, when I was officially declared cancer free. So that was the first kind of unexpected thing that really popped up and helped me out a bunch. The second one is a bit on the unexpected side and a bit maybe on the expected side, but it was honestly, it was making new friends. So I am a pretty friendly guy. I've got a pretty healthy network of friends. And of course, I love all my old friends. We've been around forever. And like in the thick of things, when the house was burning down, I was dealing with all that mess with mom. Like they were there for me. They were getting me there. They were getting me through it. But I was escaping into a world of Xbox at the time because that was the best kind of escape that I had. I hadn't been playing a lot of games because I've been super productive, hyper-focused on productivity. I gave myself like an hour a day of gaming, but in the thick of everything, I was like, I'm not gonna sit down and record anything. I can't be doing that right now. I'm just gonna play Xbox. And I was fortunate enough to meet two friends on Xbox, and we gamed together, and they were able to really help me kind of get my mind off of things. And the best part about it is they didn't know anything about what I was going through. They were just two really good guys, and we clicked on Marvel Rivals together, and we were playing comp together. And it was the necessary escape that I needed to be away from everything, because my close friends, the ones that I have known for years, the ones that have been around forever, they knew what I was going through. And as much as I appreciate that, sometimes you need to be able to connect with people who are disconnected from your life. And that is why I've always been a huge proprietor of online gaming, online friendships. Obviously, be smart, be responsible with those things, but they can be very impactful friendships in your life in their own unique, different ways, because having that natural disconnect from what's really happening in your world and what's really happening there, they can pull you out of it. And so I was really fortunate with the two guys that I met online at that time of need, and we're still gaming today, and we're still cool. Hopefully we'll be cool for many years to come. But that was kind of the second unexpected thing that helped pull me through that time. Never in a million years would I have thought that just two random people on Xbox that I meet for looking for a group post for Marvel Rivals would blow up into something to help me get through such a dark and drastic time, but it was. And so that was the unexpected thing number two. The unexpected thing number three was a movie. I was up all night doom scrolling through Instagram. That's my default doom scrolling app. I was up all night doom scrolling through Instagram, and I came across this movie scene from a movie called Manchester by the Sea. And so I'm a creative. I write my own novels. I have my own cartoon. I do a lot of creative things, and all of the work that I make is all nonfiction, or is all fiction. And so naturally, I know and I understand the power of fiction and how it can shape our lives, how it can shape our way of thinking, and how it can shape us as people. But rare is it a time when I find that I am truly touched and moved, absolutely moved by like a work of fiction. And like, despite the fact that I fully believe in the power and I understand the power of storytelling, and maybe I'm just not as in touch with my emotions as some people are, but it just, works of fiction don't oftentimes hit me. And maybe it's not that they come at the wrong time or whatever, but I saw this clip from Manchester by the Sea, and it's this movie that is promoted as like a master class of explaining grief and human emotion and how we grieve and how we get through these horrible, dark, terrible times. And obviously I was going through a horrible, dark, terrible time. So I was like, all right, let's see what this movie's got. They tout it like it's really something. Tell you what, it is the saddest 2 hours you will ever watch. But for someone who was going through grief, going through depression, going through all of the things, it was honestly 2 hours of therapy for me. And it's a beautiful film. The acting is phenomenal. The story is incredible, and it really is a master class on human grief and exploring human emotions, exploring how we deal with grief, and how, again, going back to my first point, the world moves on. Whether or not you want it to, whether or not someone you cared about just died, whether or not you're dying, the world moves on. And I have Manchester by the Sea to thank for a 2-hour therapy session that was very much so needed for me. And like I said, got me through the hard parts, got me through the hard bits. I am far from back to a completely normal point. I'm back to trying to be productive again and sharing my experiences with all of you here, trying to make a difference here on YouTube, trying to just be there for whoever needs me to be there for them. But what it comes down to for me, from my experiences, and hopefully you can leverage them to yours if and when you need to. But you gotta lean on just understanding that life moves on. Understanding that the world will keep going with or without you in it, with or without your loved ones in it, with or without anybody in it. The world is just gonna do what the world does, and that pertains to the world itself, nature, work, everything around you. It's just gonna keep going. And the sooner that you can come to terms with that in the space of just having experienced something, the better you are to bringing yourself back to normal. The second thing is going to be embracing the unexpected things that pop up, the unexpected things that are going to help you, because we're all trained in, and we think that the things that are going to help us and get us through it is the family, it's the friends, it's the big, the big things that have always been there, that everybody tells you is going to be there. And hopefully you have family and you have friends that are going to be there for you and going to help you through that. But there will be unexpected things, and try and recognize them as soon as you possibly can and embrace them so that they can help you through it. And like I said, for me, it was a random puzzle box that I saw at Target that I didn't realize I needed to have and needed to work on. It was my two random friends that I met randomly on Marvel Rivals playing comp, and now we've become close friends. And it was those two guys just being their wonderful selves that helped pull me through that dark time. And then for 3, it was a movie, and I'm not a movie guy, but I found this movie that does wonders for people who are going through horrible, deep, dark grief. And it was a 2-hour therapy session that helped bounce me back to where I am. So remember those 3 things, and remember to just take it a day at a time. Like, you're gonna have rough days, you're gonna have good days, and stay in there. Try and stay together, try and cheer up. Let's work together to get ourselves through these things and get back in the saddle so that we can be productive and be the awesome individuals who leave an impact on this world. And when we're gone, yes, the world's gonna keep going on without us, but we're gonna leave something behind that people will be paying attention to and listening to and understanding and observing and all of those things for years to come. So thanks for stopping by. It was a bit of a Debbie Downer. Sorry about that. My life's been in a Debbie Downer dark place, so that's where we are for this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Reloading.